But thank you everyone for joining us for this webinar, another webinar on Thursday, covering many materials for the real estate agent. So today we're going to talk about breaking through the production. There is actually 3 more months left for 2023. Can we put another $50,000, $100,000 on the table? There is always possibility, and that's why we invited our special guest here, Stacy McQuay. So let's go through the initial introduction here. Okay. So as you know, if you go to my YouTube, there are plenty of resources, things that would help all the agents. You can subscribe there, or you can go through all the materials. Some of the past few weeks material is already there. All the AI webinars that we went through, they are more into AR and technology and techniques that we can use to improve our career as a real estate agent. Also, I have a big library of individuals, investors, professional investors that came, and we had webinar, I think a year or 2 years ago. These are all the top guys started from zero and build up their investment. So you can go through these webinars, learn things, and you can bring it up and use it to help your client how to be successful as a real estate investors. Now, every Monday at 9 o'clock, 9 to 9:30, we have role play, and Mastermind is on every Thursday at 10 o'clock. Usually we try to keep it to 10 to 10:30. Sometimes it goes longer. We finish an hour after. Now, my reflection for today here is, as the market gets tougher, we have to make our skills stronger, means work on it. We cannot give the same thing, expect the same result. Now, I'm talking to many agents, and what I see here, truly with all the technology, everything at our disposition here, I see them, if I want to use an analogy here, they have a car, they have gas, they have the key, they have the 4 wheels, they have everything to drive their car to their destination as a real estate agents. There's only one thing is missing. They even have the map. I have many conversations with many agents during the week. They ask me to keep them accountable, provide them with some resources. There's one thing missing at the end of the day, and that is a drive. They don't have the drive. They have it for 10 minutes. Then I call them 2 weeks after and say, are you still on top of your calls? Well, we got busy, we got this, we got that. They become demotivated. So drive is one of the most important things we all need. So as the market gets stronger, stay with whatever you have, improve yourself. And that was one of the reasons for Monday role play and also Thursday. So we share things together, we learn, and we go further to improve our business. Now, without further ado, we have Stacy McQuay going through the production for the remaining of the year. Now, quick introduction. Stacy is a many years seasoned salesperson, real estate agent. She is a coach. She was and she is a team leader with many years of experience how to do different things and assign things with teams and work with them. So Stacy, thank you for joining us this morning, and take it over.
All right. Thank you, Ashton. We're getting a bit of feedback there, so I don't know where that's coming from, but I think we got it there. First of all, I just want to say thank you to all of you who are taking time out of your morning to spend with us. Ashton and I, what he didn't mention to you is every morning we help hold each other accountable. So we've been attending a skin in the game call together every morning at 8:15 for almost a year, Ashton. Can you believe that? It's been almost a year, and we've become good friends. And we talk about how to keep that momentum going in our business. And with just a little over 12 weeks left in the year, I wanted to share with you some ideas that could help you move forward. So what I'm really known for is business planning and helping agents align their daily activities with their goals. And Ashton was kind enough to let me join you this morning and share some thoughts with you. So we're going to try and keep this to about 20 minutes. And then afterwards, I'll open it up for questions. And if you have any desire to connect afterward, I have a way for you to do that too. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And like Ashton, I'm always waiting to see like that this is all going to work okay. So please bear with me as I have to move my screen and move my Zoom around. You guys know how this goes. It's a little crazy. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. I see a presentation and there it went off to another screen. See how that works? It's always fun. All right, let's
So far,
present.
we don't have you, so let me stop mine or pause mine. Maybe.
Okay. Can you see it okay now?
No, hold on a second. Just give me 1 second.
There you go. I
Okay.
got a notification that everybody should be able to see it. We good?
Yes, thank you.
All right. So we have, a little over 3 months left in the year, but you guys know we need to write contracts and they need time to close. So really, we only have about 12 weeks of production left that can result in a paycheck for this year. So I really leaned into this time frame of 12 weeks. And I want you guys to open your minds on what business planning can look like, because we're entering that time of year where business planning is going to start coming out. Brokers are going to start offering business planning to come up with an annual plan for next year. I'd love for you to open your mind this morning and look at it from a different perspective. This all started with me sucking. And what I mean by that is I am, as of next month, I'll have been in the business for 31 years in the Northeast Ohio area. And Ashton and I wave at each other across Lake Erie. But even after 31 years, I felt like I was always up against the same thing, which was building a pipeline. I would get busy and then I would, kind of pare down my lead generation because I was busy. And I went through these roller coaster hills and valleys in my business, and I wanted to stop that. And so I happened to be on a coaching call with Don Hobbs, and Don was tired of hearing the same old, right? My business partner and I had been struggling with, the fact that our goal was here and that we were at the first quarter of the year, our production was here, and there was no way that we could see to close the gap. And so he recommended a book called The 12-Week Year by Brian Moran. I read it and I immediately wanted to make that applicable for realtors and entrepreneurs to put it into their business. I had been doing annual business planning forever. I would do my annual business plan in October, November for the following year. And it was a challenge because I would do all of the numbers. So I knew how many transactions I needed, how many calls to make, and all of those numbers. But I really didn't have a plan on how I was going to get all of that done. What were the most impactful tactics that I could use? And so this was really born out of necessity for my business. And I'm still perfecting my 12-week year. And I want to go through some of the basics with you this morning so that you can contemplate whether or not this might work for your business. You'll see a QR code on the screen. You can go ahead and be added to my mailing list if you would like. I can let you know about upcoming classes and share more information on the 12-week year with you. But without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and jump right in. So I want to start by asking this question, and I see a lot of people that are not on video. So I'm going to count on you to use chat this morning. Okay, so if you don't want to be on camera, you haven't quite got it all together yet this morning, that's fine. But hopefully you'll use chat for me. Okay, I want to talk about what you think you know for sure. Like you think you know the best way to do it. So do you peel a banana from the top, from the stem, or from the bottom, the little brown spot at the bottom? I'm going to give you a minute. Find your chat. Okay. Oh, I see Heather on here too. Good morning, Heather. Find your chat and tell me, do you peel it from the stem or do you peel it from the bottom? Go ahead. I'm going to give you just a couple minutes here. Let's see what we get. Do you peel it from the bottom, the stem, the bottom? See, already we have a little bit of disagreement, right, on how to do it. So my whole life, I peeled it from the stem. And lots of times it was green and it turned, into a wrestling match with it, right? Only to come to find out much later in life, probably much longer than it took you guys to figure it out, that wasn't the best way to do it. It was just the way I was taught. So I just kept doing it. Even though it got frustrating, I never asked myself if there was a better way. Never did. So then I learned that this is not how animals in nature peel bananas. They peel bananas from the brown spot at the bottom. And believe it or not, that is a quick, easy, effortless way to get it done, right? And so once I started doing that, I realized that I probably had other things in my life that I had just been doing because that was the way I was taught. And that I wasn't really opening myself up to different ways of doing things that didn't require more effort. It didn't require a lot more education, but it certainly made things much easier. So if you think a banana is peeled from the stem, I welcome you to try the next time to peel it from the little brown spot at the bottom. You'll find the job is much, much easier. So that was a soft blob. Let's go to this one. How many of you think that your toilet paper gets installed over? How many of you think it gets installed under? Go ahead, type that in chat. When we install the toilet paper, is it installed over or is it installed under? Over. I see over. Heather says over emphatically. Andrea says over. Ashton says over. Are you so committed to over that when you go to people's houses for like a dinner party or something and you notice that the toilet paper is installed under, that you switch it? Because clearly those people didn't know what they were doing, right? So we've all been there. We've all done it, right? There are things that we pretty much think we know for sure, all right? And in real estate, let's face it, you're on an island, okay? And here's what I mean by that. I don't mean it to be negative. What I mean to say is we're all on an island in that we all have unique goals. Now you could say there's probably 10 people on this call that all have a goal of selling X number of houses. And you're like, what are you talking about, Stacy? We all have the same goals. No, you don't. You really don't. Because the goals and the initiatives that are driving your activity in real estate are all different. We all have a different reason we do this for a living, that we're building this entrepreneurial enterprise that we call real estate. We all have a different reason, and we all have different resources at our disposal, every single one of us. So when you sit in a room and you do annual business planning, okay, that's kind of a cookie cutter, one size fits all. You're assuming that everyone in that room has the same goal to sell as many houses as possible, that they have the same amount of time to devote to it every day, that they have the same amount of skills, that they have the same ability to grow a database. And frankly, that's just not true. And annual business planning has not given us the opportunity to customize a way to approach our business that gives us the results we're looking for, that are in line with our strengths and that are in line with what we can do to move forward, based on what our opportunities are that are showing up in our world. Every one of you has a different set of opportunities in front of you. Every one of you has a different size sales pipeline right now. You don't all have the same sales pipeline. Okay, some of you are sitting there going, oh shit, I sold everything. I'm done. I found houses for all of my people. I have no listings coming until next spring. And you're starting from zero. Some of you have a really fat pipeline, but you can't find houses for people. Everybody's business is different. So this one size fits all solution of annual planning doesn't work. So you're on an island. It's you and your resources that are unique to you. And we want to make allowances for that when we're approaching our business plan. So we're going to break it down from a year down to conveniently 12 weeks. And so the magic of all of this is, guess how many weeks we have left, guys? We have 12 weeks left in this year. You can start to make a difference now. You don't have to scrap 2023's goals just because you're not pacing for that goal. Okay, so let's break this down. Here's how it goes. Goal achievement is all about alignment. Okay, it's figuring out where you are now and being very real about it. And we like to hide that a little bit in real estate. We don't always like to be honest about how many leads we have or how well we are or are not doing, right? So we stay busy, we look busy, but we don't really know where we are until we do a great analysis on pipeline, database, and a little health checkup on our business. So I need to figure out where I am now, and then I need to figure out where I want to be. And I don't mean where I want to be in 12 weeks or where I want to be next year. I'm talking about where I want to be when I'm done. When I am done, when I either replace myself in my business with a CEO or I sell my real estate business. So hopefully you're positioning yourselves to do one or the other of those things. So what does my life look like at that point? Okay, and I'm trying to get myself in alignment. Okay, so for me personally, I don't want to do as much as I can do. I want to do as much as I can do in the shortest amount of time possible that can be done from anywhere as I get older in this business. I'm 53, I have 5 kids, 4 are out making it in the world, and they all live all over the country. So me being strapped to a business in Cleveland 24/7, grinding it out for units isn't going to work for me anymore if I want to have FaceTime with my kids. So my whole goal is to do as much as I can to be able to work remote and still have time to travel and be present with my family. So that definitely dictates, to get in alignment, guys, that dictates my goals for the next 12 weeks, my goals for the next 3 years, and where I'm ultimately going. It also dictates what kind of tactics I use to grow my business, right? I can't do that all on my own. If I'm a solo agent, if I'm the Lone Ranger out here all on my own, I can't do that. I'm going to need help. So I have to structure my business in a way that I'm in alignment with where I ultimately want to go. This is probably the most critical step of business planning that's lost, that people don't spend enough time thinking about and really like pulling apart and unpacking and analyzing for themselves. So we do a lot of like looking to the left and looking to the right, trying to figure out what everybody who's successful is doing. And then we take bits and pieces from what they're doing and we put it in our business and try and move forward. And then we don't understand why we keep feeling depleted. We don't sustain our motivation. It's because you're not in alignment with where you ultimately want to go. So the first step is to getting in alignment and being very clear about where you are now and where you want to go. Okay. So let's kind of do a little bit of a recap on goal setting, and I want you to rethink some things. First of all, we've all heard of SMART goals, right? So anyone know what the SMART is? Go ahead, type it in chat. SMART, the S in SMART stands for, somebody type it in chat. Who's going to be the hero today? Who knows the answer? Ashton, you can't cheat. What does the S stand for in SMART goal? What do you guys got? Small? Nope, it's not small. What is it? What is it? Anyone know? It's specific, right? It's specific. So we want Heather. No, it doesn't mean Stacy. It means specific, right? So a SMART goal, the first thing that a goal needs to be is very, very, very specific. Okay. Anyone know what the M means? Anyone know what the M is? Measurable. Absolutely. So it has to be specific and it has to be measurable, either by dollars, units, something concrete, so that if I didn't know anything about your business and I saw your scoreboard, I could tell if you're winning the game or not. Okay. So measurable. Can you imagine how maddening it would be to watch a football game where there's no score? where there's no scoreboard? How many of you watched a football game and all they're doing is spouting stats, and you see the scores and the downs and all the stuff all over the screen? You can barely see the guys on the screen anymore because of all the stuff that's going on, right? We're obsessed with knowing the score, and yet in our businesses, we don't make our goals measurable enough. How do I know if I'm winning the game or not? You have to make it measurable. Anyone know what the A is? Anyone know what that A is? Come on, type it in chat. What's that A for? Anyone know? Accountability, could be accountability. Could be. Needs to be achievable, right? There we go. Razik is on it today. So it needs to be achievable, okay? And then what about that R? So we have specific, we have measurable, it has to be achievable, right? What does that R stand for? What's the R stand for? This is super important. Okay, realistic. Ashton, you walked right into my bear trap. You walked right into it, jumped in with both feet. I hate the word realistic. And when I was taught this, that's what the R stood for, realistic. So I want you to like completely eradicate 2 words from your vocabulary. One is realistic, the other's overwhelmed. Stop saying you're overwhelmed. You're not prioritizing, but you're not overwhelmed. Okay. So those 2 words, no more. After today, you're going to throw it out. Not going to use it. The R stands for romantic. Romantic. No, the R stands for relevant. Relevant. Get the idea of realistic out of your head. We're going to talk about that in a future session, but it's relevant. How relevant is that goal to where you're ultimately going in your business? It's got to be relevant. Again, speaking to that alignment, right? And then the T is for time bound, right? Razik's got it, right? So specific and measurable, achievable, and relevant to where I'm ultimately going, and time bound. Time bound for me in my business planning is 12 weeks. How convenient, there's 12 left. All right, so making sure we're all aligned and making sure we're going to focus on what's called a lead indicator, right? So lead indicators are things in our business that we have ultimate control over. It's based on our level of activities, right? So we're talking about how many calls I'm going to make, how many appointments I'm going to run, how many contracts I'm going to write. And those are the things that we're going to measure and set goals around, okay? So I want to finish with this thought. Ambitious, relevant goals, okay? If I am going to have a discussion with someone about the term realistic, all right, I'm going to talk to you about this. If I'm going from a couch to running a 5K, I'm a complete potato. I don't even have running shoes, but I'm going to run a 5K. Some friends have challenged me. I'm going to run a 5K. There's actually an app for that. I can get on my mobile device and I can download the app for couch to 5K. It's a real thing. You can actually look it up, okay? And so let's say I do that whole process and I do what the app tells me to do. I'm going to be able to run a 5K by the end of the program. But if I'm going from being a couch potato to running a full marathon, okay, I think it's going to take more than an app to get me where I want to go. I'm probably going to need to hire a running coach. I am probably going to need accountability, so I'm going to need to join a running club. I am looking at probably needing a different pair of shoes than the shoes I would train in to do a 5K. I'm probably going to need to change my entire diet and nutrition plan. Probably need to get my sleep right. It requires so much more of me to have a big goal rather than a little goal. Little goals don't cause you to have to stretch out too much, right? Pretty much anyone could run a 5K. You might hurt a little bit the day after, but we can all pretty much do it without a whole lot of prep. However, when we're looking at our real estate goals, stop thinking in terms of realistic. Realistically, I could run a 5K. That's not going to change me. It's not going to change my business. I'm not going to learn any new skills, right? I can grow so much faster and make so much more progress toward my goals if they aren't realistic, but they're relevant. So choosing goals that are going to get me where I want to go, having me learn skills faster. And also when we're picking a really big, crazy ass goal, the beautiful thing about it is not everything will get me there. I can't look at 100 ideas. I can't attend 15 webinars a week on how to grow my real estate business, because very few things will allow me to move a business to the levels that I want to move it to. If I just want to double my business, no big deal. It's just more of what I'm already doing. I'll save you a lot of time watching webinars. Just do more of what you're doing and do it more consistently. You'll double your income. It's not a problem. I promise. It's really easy to do. It's just more. Okay. But if you're like me, I don't want to do more. I don't want to work more hours. I don't want to make more phone calls. I want to make phone calls to the right people that I could build relationships with that could create multiple referrals for me versus making onesie twosies here and there. So when I'm looking at having these relevant goals that are big and that aren't realistic, now I can identify super impactful tactics to move me forward. So I'm going to stop right here because Ashton and I had chatted. We're like, this is a big topic. We're going to do a second part of this where we're going to break it down for you. But to leave this call today, and I'm going to stop sharing so I can see your beautiful faces. To leave this call today, here's what I would challenge you to do. As you approach business planning season in real estate, number one, don't give up on your 2023 goals, but go back and make sure that your goals for your activity match where you're ultimately going in the business. Spend a little time on your own. And then if you share your life with another human, whoever they are, your kids, whoever, your partner, whoever's with you, if you have a business partner, if you have a real estate team, and really drill down into where are we all ultimately going. If we're going to plan a vacation and I know I want to go on vacation, that's my goal. It's not specific. I don't know where I'm going. How do I know what to pack? Do I pack a little bit of everything? How do I know where to go? How do I know how to travel there or how far I have to travel? That's exactly the boat you're in right now. You're planning a trip. You want to build a real estate business, but you have zero idea of how long it'll take you to get there, what vehicle you need to use to get there, what mode of transportation, and what you need to take with you and what skills you'll need. Okay. So I want you to get some clarity on that for the next session. Just think in terms of my long-term aspiration, not to be confused with a big why. Big whys are daunting. I think big whys can be very daunting where you're like, oh my God, what was I made for? What's my destiny? That stuff can be heavy. But your long-term aspiration, what do you want your life to look like when you're ready to hand off your business? Who's around you? Where do you live? How much do you travel? How much money do you make actively and passively? How much debt do you have or don't have? Those are the questions you're going to want to answer. Where do you spend your time? Will you, live somewhere like you do now and then vacation during the winter somewhere else? Like, what does your life look like? And then we can reverse engineer from there. Okay. Any questions on that?
I have a question.
Yes.
Okay. So in terms of productivity, I'm a very practical person. So in terms of productivity and talking about 12 weeks, now let's say I am prospecting twice a week.
Okay.
Now, is there a way to squeeze that 1 to 12 weeks, expecting the same result?
So first of all, I think it has to be appropriate for the person's business. I've got a coaching client right now that's transitioning out of her full-time job, and she can only lead generate, 3 times a week for 2 hours in the evening. That's how she's set up to do it. But that's relevant for her because she's transitioning out of her full-time job. If you are someone who is working full-time in real estate, that's not going to cut it. It's just not. And it also, depending on the size of your pipeline, Ashton, like how many people do you already have in the hopper that are warmed up, pre-approved, ready to go? If I have an agent that has nobody or maybe one or two people in their pipeline versus someone who's got a loaded pipeline, but everybody's sitting on the fence waiting for the perfect property, those are two different approaches to lead generation. One of them is going to be more lead generation focused. The other is going to be lead generation focused, but also lead nurture focused. And twice a week isn't going to get it done, in my humble opinion. And then what are they doing for lead generation? Because not all lead generation activities are created equal either, right? So some things that we do are wildly impactful, and some of the things that we've been told to do aren't. Let me give you a great example. I was chatting with a client of mine whose son wants his own real estate coach, so hired his own coach, and the coach is having him do postcard mailings. And I said, that sounds awesome. Like, tell me more about what you're doing. Who are you targeting that to? Well, a geographic area. I go, oh, okay. Well, did you vet that list to only people who have owned a home for 3 years or more? Well, no. Okay, well, do you have a call to action on the postcard? Yeah, call us if you have a real estate need. And I'm like, do you have a QR code on that card so they can interact with you, where you have a really actionable thing for them to do, whether it's to reveal a neighborhood sales report or something like that? Well, no. I go, okay, how are you measuring your ROI? We don't know. All I know is that when we do a mailing, we get about 20% of the postcards returned to us with bad addresses or bad names. Now, I don't know about you guys, but that does not sound like a good use of someone's time or their money in real estate. And this is what they're being professionally coached to do. All right. Not all lead generation is created equal. I would argue that's not even lead generation, that's marketing. And you can't confuse the two. Lead generation is belly to belly, we're interacting. Something like that is marketing. So whatever you're doing, you really have to test it and make sure it's in alignment. And hey, what if I have a big network? What if I have a lot of business contacts? Having me call expireds might not be the best opportunity for me. Maybe it's teaching me how to lean into that network. So again, it's knowing where your opportunities are, where your strengths are, and then figuring out what the cadence of your activities needs to be.
Great.
Okay. Anyone have an idea? What's working for you guys? I know Heather tried a new tactic. We were talking the other day. She's also on our Skin in the Game calls. Heather tried video texting. And how did that go, Heather?
It went okay. You just have to start, right? Because a lot of us don't like the sound of our own voice. We don't like to see ourselves. But I think once you get started, like I'm hooked. And they were super cheesy, total cheese. But I'm like, I'm putting it out there. I'm putting the cheese out there. I don't even care. I don't care. I'm doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have like people who, maybe this happens to just me and not to anyone on this call, but you guys will see you, Evangelia, when you are, running out of time and you were going to make calls that day and your plan was to make calls, but then you're nearing the end of the day and you didn't make your calls. Do you just scrap it and not do anything till tomorrow? Or do you have a plan B for yourself? I think this is really important. We call them acorns. You got to stash some acorns. So what we'll do is we will pre-record some of those video texts and have them on our phones ready to go, like in the hopper, just in case we run out of time. If my goal was to make calls and I don't have the time, my days run amok with me. 3 houses came on the market. Everybody needs to see them right now. Oh my God, what am I going to do? I have a stockpile of some things that I can go ahead and push out and still keep the wheels of lead generation moving in my business. So again, knowing what those tactics are that you can kind of leverage yourself makes all the difference. Okay. All right. Any questions or comments or ahas? I'm going to watch the chat. I'm like an expectant mother. I'm like watching it. How many of you are using an annual plan now? Ashton, do you use one? Yeah.
Yeah,
Heather, do you use one? An annual plan?
you have to
Okay.
unmute.
She's muted. Moving to a 12-week plan, which will actually go into the components of the plan next time we chat, makes all the difference. I would strongly encourage you, if you do nothing else, just hop on YouTube, look up Brian Moran. I'll go ahead and put his name in chat, Brian Moran with the 12-week year. The book was really written with insurance and financial advisors in mind. I think that was the bulk of his clients in the beginning. So what I did was I took it and I applied the principles towards 12-week year planning for real estate agents. So I can certainly help you. Razik read the book. Yeah, it's a completely different way of thinking. And you shouldn't think about it quarterly either, even though it's 12 weeks and that's technically a quarter. Don't start it on the quarter. You know, it's meant to be a complete standalone. It's just you're running the gauntlet for 12 weeks. Okay. But that first step is really getting clarity on that long-term aspiration and making sure you're all in alignment. Okay. All right, guys. That's all I have for you. Ashton, back to you.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. So you know that you can always reach me. Just send me a quick text or call me and book an appointment. If you have some questions about implementing all these techniques, and I am in direct contact with Stacy, you can reach her as well. And you have my number. I'm going to type it here. 647-407-4049. You can always reach me at any time. Just send me a quick text so we can have a call. And I'm going to try to send you a version of this video later on. It's going to be on my YouTube as well. All the best. And thank you very much, Stacy, for joining us.
All right. Thank you, guys. Get specific. Figure out what you want and let's get you there.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.
Yeah.
See you guys.
Yeah.